What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV. It is preview day. Newcastle away tomorrow night, 8:15 kickoff.
Always a ground we look forward to playing, right?
Yeah, I think
going to.
I think tomorrow night on the watch long we're going to be watching from underneath this table. To be honest, I don't think many Spurs fans hold up too much hope.
Probably have a better view doing that than being at the game.
That's true. That's very true. But yeah, we actually got a lot to talk about today besides the game, which we'll get onto the game a bit later. We'll spend as little time on it as possible. But yeah, not a happy time to be a Spurs fan. As you can see with the banner underneath, player and fans disconnect. Because Matt Law wrote an article yesterday.
It's like a Wi-Fi connection, disconnected.
Matt Law wrote an article yesterday and he said, sources have acknowledged players discussed their relationships with supporters in a post-Chelsea meeting. Insiders believe it would be more damaging if such an obvious issue was being ignored. It is also understood that this is not the first set of Spurs players who have held this concern over a relationship with the club's fans, and that it has been an issue in previous years.
It's been an ongoing issue, you would have to say.
Well, that's what the players are suggesting. I mean, what do you
think so? Well, I guess it's difficult. It's a difficult thing to judge because, for example, we lose 4-1 to Chelsea, and there was no disconnect on that day. Everyone gave the players a standing ovation. Everyone was together. We had a parade. There was no disconnect then.
Yeah,
right? Everyone seemed very together. But I think it's born out of. I think there is a disconnect at the moment in the current. With our current form, our current performances, the current horrific home form as well. I think it stems from the fact that we paid the highest prices in the league. There was a feeling that after the Europa League we wanted to kick on, and I don't know if there was an appetite for another rebuild after winning the Europa League. It was all about trying to get us back to the European places and really kicking on from last season. I know we finished 17th, but we did get that essentially a jail out free card by getting that Europa League. So there's a time to kind of you could have recharged what we were doing rather than going for a different way of playing and another rebuild. So I think there's a frustration that we're right now in a transitional moment yet again. We're having to stomach really turgid performances, especially at home, while also paying extremely high prices. You see the crowd at the moment. There's empty seats. There's thousands and thousands of seats on the exchange. People are giving tickets away for free, right? There's against Copenhagen. There was 10,000 empty seats more. So I think the club are charging extremely high prices, and we're not getting served up the same quality at the moment when it comes to the games, and it's leading to a lot of our frustration, and it's bleeding into the players. Clearly they're getting frustrated because I don't know if they demand more from themselves or they demand more support or they're not feeling the love at the moment, but they're maybe frustrated with themselves with a lot of the performances, and they think they can do better, but the fans are at the moment running out of patience very quickly because of all the circumstances that's led to us being in this moment. And it's not just this moment, it's obviously led from the downward trajectory ever since the Champions League final, the Pochettino era, where there's been flip-flopping from different managers, different projects, while the squad has been trending downwards when it comes to quality from the Pochettino era. And that's leading to, at the moment, there's a big disconnect in the stadium, especially in home games.
I think the players are talking about disconnect between players and fans, and I feel like the big disconnect has really been from the club in general, as opposed to just solely the players. Like, there's been a disconnect between the club and fans for a long time now. But the reality is, with the players and the fans, I've always been one saying, like on the situation with Vicario on the weekend, I don't think it was right to boo him. I think, you want to show him more love after making such a mistake, particularly a player who gives his all for the team and has saved us more points than cost us. So it's someone like him, you should try and build him up as opposed to break him down. And that's all booing is going to do, essentially. So I get the sentiment that fans should be supporting the club through bad times, and I kind of agree with it. However, that's kind of an old school way of thinking about things, and the new school and new fans, not just Tottenham, but around the Premier League. And, you know, booing has become a kind of a normal thing if your club isn't performing well. And that's a sad state of affairs. The reality is, if the players were putting in shifts week in, week out and performing at a decent level, the fans would be giving that back. The fans would be supporting them through it, even if bad results were coming. As you said, we lost 4-1 to Chelsea that day, but you saw the fight on the pitch. They got applauded off the pitch. Even PSG last week, they put in effort, they put in desire, they lost the game. But what did we do at the end of the game? We applauded them off the pitch. So if we see effort and desire, if fans see effort and desire, they are going to applaud that, whether you win or lose. So I think the main issue comes from what the product that we're seeing on the pitch, the effort and desire, the fight that we're seeing from this team, particularly at home. So I think the players, as well as the fans, I think everyone needs to take a long, hard look at themselves and drastically try and improve on both situations. I think the fans should be supporting the players through it, and I think the club and particularly the players need to be showing a lot more fight and aggression and willingness to win on the pitch, because I have not seen that in a lot of performances at home, regardless of the tactics.
Yeah, and I agree with that. Obviously, it's more, a lot of it is obviously about our poor form, our poor results, our very poor performances. But as you said, we can lose games. It's how you lose games. It's not even necessarily about working hard. It's about showing an intent and bravery to go at the opposition, create chances, and we want to see a game plan we can get behind. And that is not something we're seeing at the moment. And when you're asked to pay such high ticket prices and you're basically watching a team be extremely pragmatic or not really seem to have any clue how to go forward, then you're going to be frustrated by that, and we're not enjoying what we're seeing at the moment as Spurs fans. And I don't really understand. Look, I get they're having these meetings, we're having these discussions, how can we improve? At the end of the day, there's no way around it. There's no special formula, or there's no special idea they can come up with that can create a connection. The only thing they can do is get to the training ground, work hard, work on improving yourselves, come up with a game plan to try and attack the opposition, and try and entertain the fans, and try and show willingness to win, and try and show a game plan we can all get behind. And if you show energy, you show fight, and you show an ability to at least hurt the opposition, and not show the turgid kind of football we've been showing, then the fans will start to get on board. But at the moment, we're clueless on the ball. We're not good at defending at all as well. We're making mistakes. We're getting opened up. We have good international players on the pitch, and yet we're frequently outplayed by inferior opposition, especially at home as well. So when you look at all those factors, and we're paying high prices, it's no wonder the fans are frustrated. But you can have all the meetings you want, right? I don't think whoever it is, whatever name of player, I don't think Porro going over to the fans and clapping them or urging more passion or doing anything is going to turn this around. It's not these little things. Yeah, those will help, but those things are not going to help as long as we're showing what we're showing on the pitch. As long as that is the same, that's the main issue here. Like, it's all well and good having these meetings. How can we create a connection with the fans? That's great, and I want that dialogue to happen. But at the end of the day, there's nothing they can decide at that meeting that's going to change anything without changing the product we're seeing. That's the reality. So I don't know what really can come out of these meetings apart from, can we improve how we're playing, or let's slash the ticket prices, because we're again in a moment where they raised the prices, didn't they, at the beginning of the season?
Very small raise, yeah.
Yeah, they raised it, and they raised it for a season where are we expected to be in a transition? Are we expected to be served up what we're serving? Is this part of the plan? Okay, it's a long process, it's a long project. This season's gonna, if the narrative, this season's gonna be a tough season, and we're gonna have to go through rough times, but all in service of a larger goal. Okay, if that's the case, then slash the ticket prices, because why are we being? If we're expected to go through hard times, why shouldn't they be going through hard times? Why shouldn't they be getting less money from us if we're expected to be just to take poor performances on the chin because it's a transitional season? Like, we shouldn't be paying top dollar and the top prices in the Premier League if we're just expected to take on the chin that this is going to be a transitional season. And if we're not, and if that's not the expectation, then we're going to hold the team to a higher standard, and that's it.
Yeah, but look, I feel like with players kind of having this feeling towards the Spurs fans, it's not great, is it? It's really not great at all. But there is a simple solution to it: is you try harder, and we'll try harder. I think that's the main takeaway here. But I mean, it's clear to see as well. Do you reckon that is why you're seeing these kind of lackluster performances at home, but when we go away, it does seem to get better?
Maybe there's something to it. Maybe they're uncomfortable at home. Maybe they're not feeling the love. Maybe
because the away fans do give the love. The away fans don't stop singing for 90 minutes, pretty much. Small section, 3,000 hardcore fans going up and down the country. You know, we all know it's a lot of fun for Spurs fans. Anyway, it's a lot funner these days going to an away game, going to a home game, because when you're at a home game, it's a dead silent stadium for 90 minutes. About the only noise they make is the boos that they make. When you go to an away game, no matter what the score is, no matter what anything is, you know, you're singing for the majority of the game. Like even at Arsenal, when we lost 3-0, you know, there was a lot of songs in the away, and obviously they quietened them down as the game wore on. But it's fun. It's fun going to these games, and it feels like going to football. When you're at home, it's just like such a dead atmosphere. And, you know, the players should be professional enough in their own. You know, they're getting paid a healthy amount of money from the club to perform. And, you know, regardless of what the fans do at home, they should be performing. But it can't help, can it?
Yeah. Maybe they're feeling the anxiety at home. Maybe they're feeling there's obviously heightened expectations when you are at home. The expectation isn't just to get the result, but you have to take the game to the opposition and you have to really dominate them. Where at home, I think people accept. Away from home, people kind of accept. You know, there's going to be periods of game you're under pressure. Even most of the games, some games you're going to be under the cosh, and you're just going to have to kind of ride it out, and you're going to have to dig deep to get a result. Whereas at home, in front of your home fans, the expectation is you're going to be on the front foot, you're going to be dominating, you're going to go for it. And maybe they're struggling and they're drowning under that pressure, and maybe that's one of the issues. Maybe are we putting unfair expectations on the? Are we putting unfair expectations on the team when at home compared to what we're seeing? Because at the Chelsea, a lot of the games, look, we have been awful, but it is a project potentially, is a process. Are we running out of patience too quickly? Maybe there's a case for that, but I can understand why the fans have run out of patience. Why there's not really an attitude right now for another project. I can kind of understand that, and because how many times we're just, I don't know, we're kind of sick of projects at the moment. It's project after project being cut short and another project, and I think when you win a European competition like we did, and there's a chance to build on that and not start a new project. When you do rip that up, there's going to be a lack of an appetite for things to be more patient. When you make the decision, okay, we're going to make the change because we think we can do better. And when you're not doing better, you're going to run out of patience very quickly. And I think that's what we're seeing as well. I think there's a lack of appetite for patience at the moment, which is not a good thing, because you do need patience as a fan base, especially when the club decided to go in this direction. Obviously, the right course of action is to have patience. So the fact that we are running out of patience is obviously a negative thing, and it's not good that the fan base are here where we are. But I can completely understand why there is no patience at the moment for this football club.
This all comes from bad decision after bad decision after bad decision at this football club. You know, if you took the decision to sack Pochettino, which was a bad decision, but it all stems from that. I think it literally all stems from that, from not being able to rebuild the club under Pochettino. When you move on from Pochettino, not realising the squad is as bad shape as it was, and going for win now managers that, you know, are not able to win now because the squad isn't in the right state to win now. So this rebuild that's been going on for the last couple of years in terms of the playing staff, this all should have been done 5 years ago. You know, when Pochettino in the year before Pochettino got sacked, and the year he got sacked. So this is all born out of frustration from years and years of neglect and bad decisions from the decision makers at this club. So I don't think they can be surprised with the fans' apathy towards the club. And that's just what it is. I mean, this Sky Sports have just come out and said that the Spurs squad have no issues with fans expressing their views at halftime, at full time, but there was a sense of disappointment around the reaction to Vicario's error, which led to Harry Wilson's goal at Fulham. And I understand that. Like, the reaction to Vicario was disgraceful. And I know a lot of fans are not happy to hear that. But it's the reality. You can't single out one player just because a mistake can happen to anyone. You can't, albeit, look, it was a horrific mistake and it should never be happening.
But why is he the only one that gets booed? Why does no one else get booed when they make a mistake? It's a bit of an odd situation.
Yeah.
Never experienced that, really. A player just makes a mistake. And I've seen players maybe be subbed off and be sarcastically cheered because they've had a bad game, which even I don't like that either. But have a mistake and then immediately after the mistake he gets every touch is booed, that's disgusting. That's no way to be a supporter. That's no way to be a fan, and that should be called out, and that is wrong in my opinion. I don't think it's right for fans to behave in that way. They have a right to, but I don't think it's right. I don't think it's
I agree.
That's how supporters should behave during a game. That's not going to help the situation. It's only going to exacerbate and cause anxiety, and it's going to cause the players, as you say, on the pitch. I can understand why there's a reaction, because it doesn't just affect Vicario, it affects the whole squad. They see their teammate literally being attacked verbally from the crowd because he's made a mistake. I'm sure Vicario feels bad enough about the mistake anyway. I'm sure he knows he made a mistake. It's not like he did it on purpose.
Exactly. We don't need to let him know he made a mistake when he's made the mistake. And that's it. Like, support the player through a bad time, like I said before. But the reality is that players should just shut up with their bloody meetings and talking about going against fans and everything like that, and there's a disconnect between fans. Try harder on the pitch, and the reality is you'll get the love back, and that's case closed. That's all they need to know, in my opinion.
Well, I think part of the Matt Law article as well was they said that this they've adopted a new convention where they gather together in the centre circle at the end of the first half and leave the pitch together. It is believed they feel it demonstrates their solidarity regardless of the atmosphere inside the stadium. Which is obviously what we saw.
Yeah.
So is this something we're going to expect then moving forward? Or was it just one thing because Vicario got booed, we're going to show solidarity by everyone getting together in the centre circle? I don't know what that changes, why that necessarily means more solidarity. I guess because you're going in unison together down the tunnel rather than separately.
I think it's a whole bunch of bollocks, really, to be honest. It's a whole bunch of nonsense that, like, if you want to show that you're together, fight on the pitch. Don't fight when the halftime whistle's gone and you want to show a bit of solidarity. Show it on the pitch when the game's going on. You know what I mean? Like, come on.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to start winning games because we're going to gather in the centre circle at halftime.
You want to show togetherness, show it on the pitch. Don't show it when the halftime whistle's gone.
Yeah. Look, you can. I don't have a problem with them doing it. I just don't think it's like a revolutionary thing. I don't see what that does really. But fine, do it. I don't really see the need for it. But whatever. If that's what they feel they want to project solidarity with each other, fine. But I don't really see how that helps the situation at all. As I said, at the end of the day, we can have all these meetings. It's a weird narrative at the moment. Like, I understand there is a disconnect between the fans and the players. I get that, and we're booing every game. But at the end of the day, it just stems from them performing badly. That's what it is. Like, there's nothing really else to it. Like, I don't know what they think these meetings could achieve. Just get back on the training ground and start implementing things that we want to see on the pitch.
Well, it doesn't even need to be implemented from the training ground. Like, that would be nice. Obviously, that's what we want. But show some fight on the pitch. We've seen no fight on the pitch all season at home, particularly. Like, how is that going to be accepted by the fans? 60,000 fans, like you say, pay so much money to go see them week in, week out. Like, it's just a bit of fight and wanting it a bit too much to ask. I don't think so.
I know we always bring up mentality, and I do think there are some games, definitely Arsenal away, I think Chelsea at home, where mentality comes into it. But I do think the players are, trying, they're running. I just think at the moment they seem a bit clueless about what they're doing on the pitch, and that's leading to horrible performances. That's leading to lack of ideas. And when you're sitting watching a home game that you've paid a lot of money to go watch, and the team can barely get near the opposition box and can barely get a shot on target, that's gonna play on your mind, what are they doing? Are they trying? Are they just this bad? And it's going to lead to a lot of frustration. We want to just see football we can get behind. And even if we lose, we lose, but we can get behind what we're seeing when there's a belief that this could improve. There's a belief of, okay, that didn't work this game, but we can see where we're going, what we're going wrong. If we can improve these things, down the line, we can be a good team. But right now, what we're seeing, there's nothing to get behind. There's nothing that the Spurs fans can believe in from what they're seeing on the pitch, and that's leading to a lot of frustration, and then all the negative feelings about how the downward trajectory over the last few years, they all start flooding back, and then it leads to the situation we're in now, where every game we're booing at home, every game the players are getting frustrated, they're trudging down the tunnel, a lot of them don't want to give appreciation to the fans, and there seems to be a big problem, and I don't know if there's problems within the dressing room as well. There might well be, because players seem to be snapping at each other publicly, and I don't know if within the dressing room that there seems to be fractions, but definitely the negative feeling is seeping in to the dressing room, and it's coming from the stands, but that's coming from how the club has been run over the last few years. So the whole thing is just feeding into each other. It's like a negative loop. It's a negative cycle, and look, I guess I don't know where we go. Should they come out and say, look, I guess that is what Frank's been saying. Look, we need patience at the start of a project, all these kind of things, but we're expected to be patient. But the club are not patient with asking for money from us, are they? So then that leads to heightened expectations.
Yeah.
And also the fact that we've been, for the last how many years, regularly in the Champions League. That's obviously what we expect now. We expect we're going to be a club challenging for Champions League football year in, year out. And now we're a club that has record revenues. We're one of the most highest revenue team in Europe. We have a stadium that shits out money, has 30 events a year. We're paying the highest prices in Europe as a fan as well. So all these things, we moved into this brand new £1 billion stadium because this was supposed to be the thing that helps us hit the big time, and now we're 6 years on from that, right? So there is going to be expectation. Okay, where is this going? So I don't know. I don't know whether do we just need more patience as fans, or are we right to say no, we should be seeing a lot better than what we're seeing?
I think a bit of both, to be honest. I think we should be giving more patience, but at the end of the day, even with the patience that we should be giving, we should be seeing a lot better than what we're seeing right now. To create the amount of chances that we've been able to muster up in certain games, or in majority of games, teams at the bottom of the league, teams in the Championship can do better than what we're showing right now. So as much as patience should be given, even within that patience, we should be doing a lot better, in my opinion. So look, we just need to the players need to give it on the pitch, and we need to give it back to them. We need to create some sort of positive atmosphere, because if it just keeps sparring in this negativity, and the players feel it, and then we feel it, and it's just not going to go anywhere.
We've seen, even if you do little things for fans, scarves away at Boda, tifos in the home end, fans do connect to that kind of stuff. So that it doesn't take much to get the fans on side or show appreciation to the fans. That's quite easily fixable. But the problem with the fans being disgruntled within games and stuff like that just purely comes down to the manager and the players.
Yeah.
There's no one else who can really fix that but them.
Yeah, those kind of things like scarves to fans and all that kind of stuff only goes a certain way, you know what I mean? It only goes a certain amount so far, exactly. If you give scarves to a game and then you put in a performance of 90 minutes where the players just look disinterested, and you put that performance in against Arsenal, against Chelsea, there's going to be boos at the end of the game. That's just the way it goes. So we need to see better product on the pitch. We need to see players fighting for the cause, and if that happens, then the fans will respond. I think it's just as simple as that. So let's just hope it can improve. That's all we can hope for.
Yeah. But I do find it's weird, this narrative, they're coming out, we need to fix the fan connection, all that kind of stuff. It's well, that's not really the main issue, what's causing the fan disconnection. They should be thinking within themselves.
If they sort their shit out, then the fan connection will be there. Exactly. That's all it comes down to.
Yeah, so I just feel like it's a bit weird to come out in the media having sources saying, yeah, we see it as a critical issue to fix the fan connection. Well, the critical issue is how shit we are. That's the critical issue we have to fix. Not the connection between the fans. Yes, that is gone, but the only way to fix it is stop being so bad on the pitch. or maybe show or give out an olive branch and slash the prices on the
I guarantee
prices.
you,
but they're never going to do that.
Yeah, but I guarantee you, if the prices are slashed, let's say every ticket is £30-40, and we're still serving up that dross, people are still going to boo. It's still going to be a negative atmosphere.
Yeah, but people might be more forgiving potentially, or they might have more understanding of the transition.
I think when you're at the game and you're watching the game, I don't think many people are thinking about the price that they paid for the ticket. I think they're focused on the team and what they're producing.
I think it feeds into it. It's subconscious sometimes, but sometimes subconsciously you've paid this much for the ticket, and it's maybe you've brought 2-3 people with you if you're a family, and it's cost you
I get that
£300-400.
I get that,
and then you're being served like that rubbish. Yes, of course, it's not the main thing, but I think subconsciously it can feed into it. I'm not saying the booing's going to stop if the money's £30, but I think of the price is £30, but I think that maybe goes a bit of a way of showing some good feeling or something, showing an understanding from the club that this is a transitional season and you should be paying less money for what we're serving up so far. You know what I mean?
That's facts.
Not to say that it's going to change everything, but either you do that, or you just have to improve what we're seeing.
I think the latter.
We just need to improve because they're never going to slash prices. Not in a million years.
We need to improve what we're seeing. We need to improve what we're seeing. Then people won't have a problem with paying the money and going to see their team if they enjoy it week in, week out. Like. I know prices were cheaper then in Pochettino's era, but nobody even talked about ticket prices back then because we enjoyed what we were seeing. So if we were back in that kind of phase and we were enjoying what we're seeing week in, week out, I don't think anyone would even talk about ticket prices.
Yeah, of course, because it would be good.
Yeah. So look, that is that. Let us know your thoughts on that situation in the comments section below.